Maitreya vacha sodhikshipto bhagavata pralabdhascha bhrisham ajaharal banam krodham kridyamano hirad iva. Sri Maitreya said, the demon, being thus challenged by the personality of Godhead, became angry and agitated, and he trembled in anger like a challenged cobra. So the pastime which is being described here is the pastime of the Lord fighting with his devotees, actually. It's Jai and Vijay were cursed by the great sages to descend to this material world, and as a result of the whole situation, in the end they chose the option to play the roles of demons in order to come back sooner to the Lord. But even though they're merely playing the roles of demons, we can see that they're playing those roles very well. So a demon is someone who is opposed to the Supreme Lord, and Jai and Vijay, coming directly from Vaikuntha and being directly the very close servants of the Lord and very good servants of the Lord, similarly became very good demons. So they were very powerful. And we can see many things from this pastime. One of the things which we could perhaps point out is the fact that there's something we spoke about last time, and that's those who are lusty and contaminated in other ways by the material nature, they cannot have proper vision of reality. So even though they are confronted with various facts which speak to the effect that they have absolutely no chance of surviving and living happily in this world, that they have no chance in fighting with the Lord and many other things, they simply cannot see that. They really cannot see that. They see themselves as powerful. They see everyone else as being weaker than themselves, and therefore they can justly control others and exploit others. It is their right. I don't know if you have seen people like that. Sometimes I used to meet them outside on book distribution. People who are very big and strong and wealthy, and they really think that it is their right to dominate the world, and if you get in their way, you should be crushed. You really either should submit and ask for their mercy, pray to them, and offer your respectful obeisances and offer prayers. Otherwise, you are an enemy, and an enemy should be destroyed. Yeah, that was Dhritarashtra's calculation. Recently, I've been reading, or rather hearing, from Mahabharata, and we were also hearing recently a lot from Ramayana. And we can see a few very interesting characters which are there. One of the most interesting, perhaps, in this regard is Duryodhana, who is a brother of the Pandavas, and who is so profoundly blind to matters that we are examining here that it's simply astonishing to see how blind he is. His father is physically blind and also spiritually blind, as it's explained in the Bhagavad Gita, but Duryodhana is also quite blind. And we can see that even though he was defeated by the sons of Pandu, as they are called, so many times he was defeated and he was humiliated. And I don't know how many various exalted personalities told him the same, that he has no chance against the Pandavas. And even though he himself, as we said, he was actually defeated by them so many times, then he just cannot see that he's in a hopeless situation. Karna also, his very much favored supporter and right hand, also one of the brothers of the Pandavas, a half-brother, he also cannot see that. He was defeated so many times and he was humiliated so many times. And over again he comes up with this boastful attitude that what are they? They are not even 1/16 of any one of us. There is one nice situation where while the Pandavas were still in exile, then Duryodhana wanted to humiliate them, and he took the whole army with him, and of course his favorite pet Karna and others, and they went to the forest to just show off, and they brought the Kuru ladies with them also, so that they would see the Pandavas in that terrible state. And of course, as fate would have it, the Lord's servants are always protected by the Lord. Therefore, when they actually came to the forest and took shelter to rest beside a lake and wanted to go and bathe there, then a Gandharva king stopped them and said that this is my lake, boys. As they are many times arrogant, then he also approached them in this, we could say perhaps, arrogant tone. It was not literally said like that, but perhaps we could say like that for, just to convey the mood, get lost, boys. This is our lake and you're not going to use it. And then the mighty Kuru army, we are the rulers of the world. Who are you to say that we cannot bathe here? So you should submit to us or be destroyed. And then the Gandharva king said, so be it. If you want to play like that, then we will do it like that. And then he started fighting with them. He sent his soldiers against the Kauravas. And the Kauravas had to run for their lives, because even though they are the greatest military force perhaps in the world at the time, they cannot match someone who is from the celestial realm. The Gandharvas are not perhaps as powerful as some other divine beings, but they are more powerful than humans because they live on a higher plane. So naturally they were getting smashed by the Gandharvas. So they had to run for their lives. And in order to just survive, they had to approach Yudhishthira and beg him for protection. Duryodhana didn't do that. Someone else from the Kuru side did that, because Duryodhana could never do that. And they begged for protection, and Yudhishthira, because he was thoroughly righteous, even though they were insulted so many times by the Kurus, he said, all right, they're our family, they are seeking protection, they should be protected, and he sent the Pandavas to defend them. And Arjuna and Bhima and others who had celestial weapons and blessings of the demigods and so many things, they actually defeated the Gandharvas and saved the Kuru army. And that was like the final blow for Duryodhana. He just couldn't take it, We tried to insult them, we tried to kill them, we tried to poison them, we tried to burn them, we tried to exile them, we came here to humiliate them, and they save our lives. So he was so deeply humiliated that at that time, that's one of the points, interesting points. He just couldn't hear the facts that they are lesser than the Pandavas, that the Pandavas are superior to them in any way. But when all of his hopes were frustrated, and he was so deeply humiliated that he realized that he will not be able to go back to his kingdom and proclaim to everyone, what happened. I was saved by those whom I tried to terrorize all the time and whom I deeply hate. Then he just lost all hope, and he decided that he will fast till death. That was the moment of realization. When all the hopes are crushed, or all materialistic hopes are crushed, then he could see the truth. And he actually started speaking in this way, that I am such a sinful wretch, I'm envious, I'm this, I'm that. He actually came to see the real truth after his materialistic dreams were crushed, but not before that. But unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I don't know what to say, his realization was short-lived, because as soon as he sat in meditation to just fast till death, then the Danavas, who were waging a war against the demigods, as it always is like that, they brought him to them in his subtle body and explained to him, you are not alone, we are with you, we have to destroy the demigod forces, don't worry, we will help you, we will possess all the Kuru chiefs, we will enter them, we will inspire them with wrath and envy and our divine power, our demoniac power. So they will fight for you, don't worry, we have everything covered, you are very powerful, Karna is very powerful, you have nothing to worry about, we will surely win. And then after he awoke from his dream, then he was inspired again to be this good old same Duryodhana as before, even now maybe perhaps upgraded a little bit with these divine or demoniac promises. So Karna was also like that. Karna was also very wicked, crooked, lusty, and materialistic, thoroughly materialistic, and therefore he was a perfect match for Duryodhana to be his like his right arm. And unfortunately he didn't get a chance like this to be completely humiliated and have this realization, but he realized in the end when he was killed. So the point is that a person who is very much materialistically inclined, a person who is very lusty, a person who is very deeply rooted in the desire to be the enjoyer of this world, that person cannot see the reality as it is. Even though he might be advised by wise people, even though he might see the world many times for what it really is, a bad place of misery, even though he himself might be defeated and humiliated so many times, it's just this desire is so strong that it just nullifies all those experiences. So he continues to think that, yes, I'm strong, it's just like Duryodhana. It was always something. The Pandavas won because of this, because of that, because the circumstances were not so favorable, because the wind was blowing in the wrong direction, because it's never like we are actually inferior to them. It's always something else is at fault. I'm never at fault, right? Whatever happens good to me, this is my doing and this is my credit, and whatever bad happens to me, it is someone else's fault. It's never me. Yeah. That was Duryodhana's policy. He was often angry at others when others would approach him in a way that he was not pleased with, because they are at fault. But whenever somebody told him that, you're not the best person in the world, then that person immediately becomes an enemy. So you have something against me, therefore it's only logical to conclude that you don't see the reality properly, because how could you doubt me otherwise? So that's the nature of the demons. And as Prabhupada said here in the purport, a cobra is very fierce before ordinary persons, but before an enchanter who can play with him, he is a plaything. So this demon Hiranyaksha here is compared to a cobra, angry cobra, and the Lord is like the enchanter of the cobra who can play with the cobra because he knows how, he is more powerful. So even though this is the situation, the demon does not see it like that. He sees himself as powerful, and even if the Lord himself comes, then he will not be able to recognize that he is destined to be destroyed. Same with Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra, even though they were advised by so many very competent persons that what you're doing is wrong, there's no way you're going to win, so better just, you should actually give the whole kingdom to Yudhishthir, but if you don't want to give the whole kingdom, just give them what they're asking for, just give them their half, just give them Indraprastha, their part. But no, not even 5 villages, not even a spot to put the pin, the point of the needle, not even that much I will not give. And Ravana also, he was also advised so many times, just return Sita and everything is finished. Just return Sita and Ram will forgive you, and repent and everything's okay. So many wrongs you have done, but it doesn't matter. Just return Sita and we're good. But no. She is mine, or you could perhaps rightly say, this is mine, because whoever wants to enjoy and exploit the world actually sees others as objects of exploitation, not really as persons. So this is mine, everything is mine, and I have a right to enjoy, and therefore just back off. So that was the history of Ravana, that was the history of Duryodhana, and so many other demons. And even though perhaps the demons of today are not nearly as powerful, and perhaps their characters are not so extreme, but the extremities here are good because they very vividly depict the fact that when you want to just illustrate something very vividly, then you bring that to the point of extreme. So in Duryodhana you have this one extreme, someone who is so foolish and attached, and Dhritarashtra also, someone who is so thoroughly attached to his sons that even though he knows what's right, he cannot do it. And you would think that after 1,000,000 times, Vyasadeva, so many others, Bhishma, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, Vidura, this person, this rishi, that rishi. Every time he asks the same question, oh dear sage, please tell me, how can I win fortune, how can I? But you have to surrender the kingdom and stop listening to your stupid son. That was the answer every time. And each time it's, no, it's, I know this is true, you're speaking very nice words, this is all good, but I cannot do it. As Prahlad Maharaj says, that those who have given this griha vrata, this vrata who are firmly determined that they want to stay in this world and enjoy this world, they cannot become Krishna conscious either by their own efforts, by the advice of others, by joint conferences, I believe it is stated there, or any other way. It's just simply impossible, because the desire is there. The desire is what brings us into this world. This selfish desire to enjoy separately from Krishna is what brings us to this world. And the desire to stop doing that and do the opposite is the one that frees us and enables us to get out of this world. Otherwise, it's not possible to get out. It's like the perfect prison. The desire is the key. So today especially, the idea is perhaps prominent that progress means progress in terms of technical knowledge and skills. That's progress. Technology, technical knowledge, skills. If you progress in terms of that, then you're progressing. Everything else is useless. Everything that feeds economic development and sense enjoyment is useful. Everything else is useless. But we see from the Bhagavatam and from the other Vedic scriptures that actually real progress is the progress in one's quality of desire. One needs to change the quality of one's desire in order to actually become a candidate for real happiness. It's just impossible to have a world without a center, without any foundation, as Lord Krishna describes in the Bhagavad Gita in the chapter Divine and Demoniac Nature. The demons think that this world has no foundation, it has no Lord, so it's based and moved by sexual desire. So the world is up for grabs, as they say. Whoever grabs it first, then it's his property. So we have if you have a world full of living entities who think like that, then how can there be peace? It's just impossible. It's logically, philosophically impossible in any way. But the same point again, the person who is determined to try that, to live like that, he just cannot see that it's impossible, it's illogical, it's just a hopeless case. So in order for real progress to actually be made, then we have to change the quality of our desire, and we change that by, as Srila Prabhupada said, dovetailing our desires with Krishna's interests, by dovetailing our desires with the Lord's interest. So we use whatever we have in Krishna's service. We try to please the Lord only for the sake of pleasing Him. We try to actually love Him, even though we do not love Him at the moment, but we try to practice pure devotional service. And as it is said in that famous verse in the second canto of Bhagavatam, Akama sarvakamo va mokshakamo daradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajita purusham param. That never mind if we're full of material desires, if we are without material desires, or if we want liberation, the best thing for everybody to do is to worship the Supreme, like Tivrana Bhakti Yogena, with force, with full force. Not just mediocre Bhakti Yogena, but Tivrana Bhakti Yogena, with full force. And by doing that, then one can gradually become purified from those desires. And one can actually come to see that this is not one's real self-interest, and that real self-interest lies in Vishnu. Svatagatim hi Vishnu. The Vishnu is the ultimate self-interest. So, thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments, perhaps? If not, then we can continue to the next point of our program, and that will be prasadam shortly. Shri Shri Gauranitai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhaktavrinda ki jai, Hare Krishna Vancha.